How's it going, Vault Hunters? Welcome back to another Borderlands 2 Legendary's Weapons Guide. Today, we're going to be going after the legendary Maliwan rocket launcher known as the Pyrophobia. Now, the Pyrophobia can only come in fire element and is a base game item, which means no DLCs are required to get this weapon. The red text for this weapon reads, "It's actually a fairly rational fear in this case." And please note the prefix of your weapon may be different to mine, but it'll always be some variation of the Pyrophobia. To get your very own Pyrophobia, go to your nearest fast travel station and head to the location known as Frostburn Canyon. Once you load into the area, open up your map and scroll a little bit to the left, and within the red circle we will find the enemy known as Incinerator Clayton. Incinerator Clayton is a red health bar HP psycho-type enemy that has a second phase where he ignites himself on fire, making him resistant to all fire damage. Now, in order to get Incinerator Clayton to spawn in, we first need to complete the main quest known as Hunting the Firehawk. Once completed, speak to Lilith in Sanctuary and she will give you a side quest known as Cult Following. Now, Cult Following is a 4-part side quest, with the quest going by Cult Following the Eternal Flame, Cult Following False Idols, Cult Following Lighting the Match, and finally, Cult Following the Enkindling. Once you've completed and turned in the final step of this quest to Lilith in Sanctuary, Incinerator Clayton is now farmable and is a guaranteed spawn. Incinerator Clayton has a 10% chance at dropping you this weapon, as well as there being 2 other enemies that have this item as a dedicated drop. The first one being Hyperius the Invincible from the Captain Scarlet DLC with a drop rate of 0.29%. And the second one being Clark from the Halloween Headhunter Pack DLC, with a whopping 33% drop chance. I definitely recommend farming Clayton over Hyperius and Clark, due to Hyperius being a raid boss and Clark being a very time-consuming Easter egg boss. The closest non-unique item in the game to the Pyrophobia would be a Maliwan purple rocket launcher with matching element, parts, and prefix. Now, stat-wise, there's nothing really special between the Pyrophobia and its purple counterpart, other than it having a little bit more damage and reload speed, but let's truly see what makes this weapon unique compared to its purple counterpart with its special projectile. As you can see upon firing this weapon, as the rocket travels, it starts to detonate multiple times with fire explosions. To maximize the damage with this weapon, you kind of want to have a low velocity, due to having a fast velocity means the rocket gets to its target faster, blowing up, or hitting a dead zone and despawning, versus having a slower velocity rocket allows the rocket to travel more, causing more explosions and maximizing your damage. I also just want to quickly mention that this item doesn't deal normal splash damage, in a sense that its splash damage cannot be boosted by any class mods, relics, or skills that would buff grenade damage. Instead, it does what's known as pure splash damage. Just before we get into breaking down the damage and showing this weapon off, I just want to quickly point out that this gun has a sweet spot where you want to be when firing. As you can see, depending on your distance, you can get like the rocket explosions to like overlap and hit the target several times, which dramatically boosts your damage, which you can see in the footage I'm showing you. Now, to test the damage of this weapon, I'm going to do my usual phase lock test. I have the main damage prefixes of this weapon: a Rough Rider shield, a slag grenade, an elemental relic. I have no skills enabled, and my badass bar is turned off. It's pretty competitive between the two variants, but there's definitely an overall winner. Let's see how they do with slag. One last thing I want to quickly mention, that when it comes down to rocket launchers, you can kind of be a little lenient because some people prefer having more swap speed, or maybe rate of fire or reload, or, like, you can be very customizable with rocket launchers. For today's purposes, this is what I believe to be the best parts for this weapon when it comes down to just overall DPS, like the best balance for shooting a target and just being able to keep laying into them, essentially. So now that we understand and know everything that we need to know about how this weapon functions, let's break down the parts and the god roll. First off, we're going to be looking at the barrel. Thankfully, we do not have to worry about it due to it being locked as the legendary Molly 1 Pyrophobia barrel. This is what gives it its unique projectile. Next, we're going to be looking for prefix or accessory. We're going to be looking for the rate of fire prefix. You can visually see this attachment on top of the exhaust. The next part we're going to be looking at is the grip. Now we're going to be looking for the Torgue grip. This is going to give us an increase to our damage, but a decrease to accuracy, reload speed, and recoil recovery. Next, we're going to be looking at the exhaust, and for the exhaust, we're going to be going for the Torgue exhaust. This is going to give us a boost in damage, but a decrease in rate of fire. And last but not least, sights. And funny enough, sights actually matter on rocket launchers. In this case, we are going to be rocking the Meteor sight, which will give us an increase to our reload speed. That basically does it for me. As usual, before I go and I leave you with the footage of me fighting Terramorphous, I just want to say, I always try and show these weapons off in their most bare-bones state so that you as a player can determine whether or not it's worth going after. And if I had to make any recommendations, I'd probably say Krieg and Maya. Krieg has several skills that can make this gun have even more of a magazine and just do even crazier stuff. I feel like this gun should be pretty damn good on Krieg if you can get the distance down to make it do more damage. Now, does that mean that this gun is good? I wouldn't really say. I just think out of all the characters, Krieg could probably do something with this weapon. I mean, like, it's not going to do any Norfleet damage or, like, bada boom, but I feel like you could definitely turn this into something on Krieg. And then Maya for just all the elemental chances and procs and stuff like that. And that's it for me. I'll see you next time, Vault Hunters.